Good evening. I'd like to welcome each of you here this evening. First time I'm standing up here at the new facility. It does have a little bit of an echo to it, but that is okay. It's unbelievable. It's the last evening, Phil. I'm not sure about you, but it seemed like the week flew by. But certainly appreciate your time and effort you put into this. And chapter 3. 1 John chapter 3, I'm going to read the last verses, 23 and 24. Got some good news. It's Christ is sharing here about some promises, and it's something that we can look forward to in the near future. I'm not sure about you, but after hearing about all these rumors of wars and things that are going on in Israel, it makes you wonder, when is the time coming? And you can look forward to being lifted up into the sky with the promises that Christ gave to us. So reading verse 23 and 24 out of 1 John chapter 3. And this is his commandment, that we should believe in the name of our Son Jesus Christ, and love one another as he gave us a commandment. And he that keepeth his commandments dwelleth in him, and he in him. Thereby we know that he abideth in us by the Spirit which he hath put in us. So we have a commandment here. We are to believe on the name of the Son Jesus Christ and love one another as he gave us. How are we loving each other? Are we loving each other the way we should? Is it the way Christ wants us to love each other? And do we believe in him? Do we trust in Jesus? When we're going through a difficult time and times, do we trust in Christ? Because he is there. He is faithful. He is the faithful one. The promise is here that if we dwell in him, he will dwell in us. And that is a promise that we can take with us forever, wherever we go. It's a promise that we don't need to be ashamed of, but something we can show to others. He that abides within us in us forever. The Spirit which he has given to us. Isn't it wonderful that Christ, when we're dealing with times when we don't know who is our friend and who is and we know that Jesus is there with us, the Spirit is with us, and it's an awesome feeling to have. So, this evening, Phil, I guess you'll be again sharing, look forward to whatever in your heart you want. Let's pray. Dear Father, we thank you again for your kindness, for the beautiful day you blessed us with. Today we can enjoy being outside in the warm weather and seeing the new growth, new grass, the smell of fresh cut grass and the flowers blooming. Just thank you for the time. Through you, we can have that life. And we trust in you. And when we allow that small spirit voice to talk to us, we can feel that spirit moving in us. Dear Father, for this evening, Brother Phil shares, that Spirit will move on us, and that we will be listening to that voice, we can and that you can do our will. We thank you, Father, for the Holy Spirit, and we pray that this evening will be a blessing to us, and to us, Brother Phil.
Okay, children, you know what to do. Oh, come on, I wish I had that much energy. How many of you wish you had that much energy? Woo. Never could figure out why God would. Seems like he wastes it on children. I don't know. Is that right? Okay. Good to see each one here. You know what? I got something really sad to tell you. This is the last story I'm ever going to tell you. For this week, anyway. Maybe we should talk to Pastor Darrell. Maybe he would let us come all week. Would that be okay with you? I would love that. I'm not near done. But Daryl said I had to go home, so this is the last one. So I got one more story for you, and so here we go. So when I was young, we used to play a game. Yeah, I can't help it. That's his problem. So when I was young, we used to play this game. And I used to climb up on top of the table. It's the only time we could ever get on the table because Mom said never go on the table, right? But sometimes you could go up on the table and you climb up on top of the table and stand right on the edge of the table. And then we cross our arms like this. And then our dad was right behind us. And we would go like this and fall back. And he would catch us every time. We didn't even worry. We didn't look around and say, Dad, are you really going to catch us? No, we didn't worry. That's what boys do with their dad sometimes. I don't know if you ever did that. Do you ever jump into your dad's arms and you just know he's going to catch you, right? Always catches you. Always. Well, one time there was a man who was pretty brave. In fact, I think he's so brave he was stupid. Because what he did is he liked to walk across tight ropes. Right across big high buildings. Between buildings, he'd walk across this tightrope. And all he was walking on is a wire. Just like one big cable. That's all he could walk on. And he had a balancing stick. But he wouldn't even fall. But if he fell, he would be dead. Because this was like way up in the air. There's no way he would live. But he would walk across this cable. And one day he said, you know what I'm going to try to do? Walking between tall skyscrapers, that's too easy. Because there's no wind and there's no problems. You can just easy walk across. I want to walk across someplace where it's really, really hard to walk across. And what would that be? He said, how about if I walk across Niagara Falls? How many of you ever saw Niagara Falls? Did you see it? It is big. I've seen it. And see, something about Niagara Falls, not only is it really high and big falls, but when the water goes over the falls, it creates lots of currents and lots of windy conditions. And it can get really hard to walk on a tightrope across it. So they stretch out a big, long tightrope, a big, long one, all the way from the Canadian side to the American side. And this is a true fact because you can look up on the internet and you can find the story. His name was Blondin. He was from Paris, France. And one day, actually, when I went to Niagara Falls, I went into the museum about the Niagara Falls, and I saw a picture of Blondin, this real person that I'm just talking about, on the wall. And it talked about the times that he walked across the cable across Niagara Falls. And so he got up on the big day arrived, and it was in the newspapers, Blondin's going to walk across the Niagara Falls. So he got up on the Canadian side, and he got up on the cable, and he put his hand up for everybody to be quiet. Because it's really hard to concentrate to get across the falls without falling. So then he started walking across the cable, and as he started getting away from the land, the cable had swayed to him. And it would start swinging back and forth because it was so far. It's pretty far over to the American side. And it flying, swaying back and forth and kind of loose in the middle. And he was swaying back and forth with the cable. And he had this big, think your mom would like if you did that? No, I guarantee she wouldn't. My wife wouldn't either. Except my wife wants me to go skydiving. I don't. She said when you turn 60 this summer, you should go skydiving. I don't know if she likes me or not. I'm still trying to figure out if I should or not. So anyway, so they were going across this cable, they were getting all the way across, and he was out in the middle where it was really swaying. Ooh, he started going back and forth. Finally, he got to the other side. And he made it all the way across, and all the cheers went up. Yeah, Blondin, Blondin. The first man to ever walk across Niagara Falls. And they're all cheering, Blondin, Blondin. And then he lifted up his hand for everybody to be quiet. Everybody had to be quiet. And he said, how many of you think I can walk back across the falls with somebody sitting on my shoulders? So I walked across. And now it's going to be really tippy-turvy because they're going to be much more out of balance. Center of gravity is going to be much higher. How many of you believe I can walk across with somebody on my shoulders? And they all cheer. Yes, Blondin, Blondin. You can walk across the falls with somebody on your shoulders? No problem. You can do it. You're all cheering and cheering. Yes, you can do it. We know you can. And then he asked the question. Is there any volunteers? All of a sudden, everybody got quiet. Nobody cheered anymore. Everybody got because nobody wanted to volunteer. But they said they believed he could do it. But then they're all getting all quiet because they're too scared to go for his shoulders. Finally, one little skinny guy in the back of the crowd raised his hand. He said, I'll get on your shoulders because I know you can do it. And I believe in you and I trust you that you can do it. So he got up on Blondin's shoulders. And Blondin said, whatever you do, just go like this and stay still. And I'll balance us. You don't worry about balancing. I got it covered. So he gets up on Blondin's shoulders. And they start walking across, and now their center of gravity is higher, so they're tipping back and forth out in the middle where the cable's really wobbling, and back and forth, back and forth. They made it to the other side, all the way over to the other side. And the crowd cheered, yes, Blondin, we knew you could do it. Blondin, we knew you could. So everybody said they believed he could do it. But how many people really believed that he could do it? How many people? Only one really believed, right? So there's lots of people. If you go down to Fredericksburg or you go down to Myerstown and you talk to people, they may say, and you ask them, do you believe in God? And a lot of them would say, yeah, we believe in God. But then, if you would ask them, do you trust God with your whole life? And everything you do, every part of your life, do you trust God with everything? Well, not so much. So if we say we believe in God, but we don't really trust Him with all our hearts and follow Him with all our hearts, then maybe we don't really believe in God. But when we trust Him with our whole hearts and our whole lives. Yes, ma'am. You have a question?
Even if you don't trust in God, that means you sin.
Then you're just picking up on sin instead of trusting God and obeying Him. Yeah, that's right. Because when we trust God, we know what He has is the very best for us, and not sin and other things that are evil, right? So, you boys and girls, as you get older, God's going to speak to your heart, and He's going to invite you to come. He's going to invite you to let Him come into your heart and to trust Him. And when He does, you can say, yes, I want to trust you into my heart, and I want to ask you to forgive me of my sins, and I want to believe you and follow you, and even get up on His shoulders, like Blondin, like the man did on Blondin's shoulders, and really trust God no matter what He brings into your life. And that is the best life you'll ever live. Guaranteed. Thank you for listening so well. I wish we could have a whole bunch more stories, but that's going to have to do for this week. Thank you. You can go back to your parents. Well, good evening, everybody. It's good to see everybody here this evening. Yeah. What a privilege it is to be together in God's house again. Last evening already. And I'm serious, Daryl. Where's Daryl hiding? Did he leave? Oh, there you are. You're always right here. Somebody took your bench. Oh, everybody was up. Well, it's good to have each of you here. Are you fixing me? Okay. All right, so we've been on a journey this week, and tonight we're going to wrap everything up and try to put a bow on it and understand in a deeper way what it really means to follow Jesus. So I ask you a question. What is more valuable or finds its purpose better when it's broken instead of whole? What finds its purpose and is actually more valuable when it's broken instead of when it's whole? Anybody have any ideas?
A lemon.
A lemon? Who said lemon? Justin? Yeah, a lemon. Not to work much of it's still just a whole lemon, right? Excellent. What else? I think you have a lemon down. I have that one. but that professional that knows how to cut it just right, that brings out the beauty and the value. Good, excellent. What else? You're all good ones. What else have I learned? What's more valuable than horse?
Hey,
Right back there?
hey,
Didn't say it real loud because I'm old.
hey.
Hey! Right. Hey, you have to break your egg to be any good for you, right? So otherwise it's just an egg in the fridge. Exactly, good. It must be broken to really get its value. Anybody else? Good. How about a horse? Is a horse more valuable broken or not broken? Now, if it breaks its leg, that's one thing, right? But the way we call a horse being broken, a broke horse is more valuable than a, doesn't matter how amazing, fast, and everything it is, if it's not broken, it's not worth near as much, right? Exactly. What about glow sticks? One child when I asked this question, how about glow sticks, Phil? Yeah, when you break a glow stick and it glows, it's much more valuable. How about a kernel of wheat or kernel of corn? You put it into the ground. If it stays a kernel like that, is it very valuable? You switch to Pioneer seeds, it doesn't open up, right? What is valuable only when it breaks and cracks, and the shell cracks, and the germ comes out and grows a stalk of corn, right? That's when it's really valuable when it's broken. So do you think you're more valuable broken than whole? You know, the Bible has these paradoxes. Like, it says that you're more alive when you're dead. Can anybody explain that to me? You're more alive when you're dead. That's what Paul said. And what did he mean by those kind of things? My illustration here. There was one day, a man carried water up the hill. And there was, back in the days before they had running water, this servant would carry water from down by the river and carry it up the hill to the master's house. And he had a yoke across his shoulders and a rope hanging down from each end of the yoke with a vessel on both sides hanging from the yoke. Picture? He had two vessels there carrying water up the hill. And so he would carry the water up the hill, and when you get to the top of the hill, he would dump the water into the big cistern, and the next day he would do the very same thing and carry water up the hill. But one thing about it, when he would carry it up the hill and pour the water out into the cistern, one of the vessels only had half of water left in the canister, and only half of it was full. And so, let's just say vessels like that could talk, right? And so when they were going up the hill the next time, one of the vessels that had the leak in it, he had a leak like this. He had a hole in the bottom of him. So whenever they were going up the hill, he would leak out water, right, like that. Now you ladies, if I gave you some cups like this with holes in the bottom, what would you do with them? Oh, that's so valuable. I'm so glad you found some just like that. We need those in our house. No, you just pinch them, right? So this vessel was getting pretty sad and pretty discouraged and really bad. He said, when I come to the top of the hill, I noticed that there's only, my vessel's only half full. And I feel really bad, servant, because you're working all that work to take the water up the hill. You're working so hard to carry the water up the hill. When you get up the top of the hill, it's only half full. I feel so bad. Why don't you just throw me in the ditch and throw me in the trash and get another one that's going to always carry water? And the servant says, oh, no, you don't understand. You don't understand at all. He said, next time when we go down to the river tomorrow, you watch out your side of the path and you look over to the other side of the path. And you tell me what you see is the difference between the two sides of the path. And so the vessel said, okay, I can do that. And then after that, you're going to throw me away, right? Yeah. Well, maybe. So they're going up the hill there, and the vessel is looking on the other side of the path, and on his side of the path. And he noticed something very, very different. What do you think he noticed that was different from his side to the other side of the path? Anybody want to guess? Yes, ma'am.
Things were growing on his side.
That's exactly right. Not only were they growing, but there was flowers growing. Beautiful, gorgeous flowers. Purple and orange and red and all kinds of pretty colors of flowers were growing on his side of the path. And when they get to the top of the hill, he asked the vessel, what did you see different? He said, it was just incredible because on my side there was green grass and flowers, and the other side there wasn't any. And the servant says, exactly, that was exactly my point. Not only that, you don't know this, but when I put you back on the shelf after I carry the water up, I go back down the path, and I pick all these flowers, and I pick up all these flowers, and I put them all around the mansion. And the master is so pleased and so happy with all these flowers I put all around the mansion, on the windowsills and tables. It just brings color and beauty to the whole mansion. All because you leap. You're broken. Paradoxes, lots of paradoxes. And every paradox has a breakdown. Every illustration has a breakdown. But could it really be that your walk with Christ, you try to be so perfect and smile nice and get it all perfect and look nice? Could it be that your pretend wholeness is not as valuable to the kingdom of God as your authentic vulnerability and brokenness? You've heard my story all week here, and I've said these things a couple times. But there is no question. You would talk to Janelle, talk to my sons, talk to our family. There's no question. I was involved in ministry for 20, 30 years before 2017, before it all just kind of crashed on fire and went up in smoke. But I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, living never really happened until after I was broken. That life never really was coming out of me until I was broken. And it seems kind of like a paradox. How could this possibly be? But it's actually, Jesus says, it's actually in my brokenness that I can then bring life through you and touch other people in amazing ways you never thought possible. And you know what? I can't even explain it. I can't even prove it to you. But the power of God's Word is so real. And what does Jesus really mean when he said, follow me? What does he really mean? Turn with me to Luke chapter 9. Just maybe, we kind of have it backwards. And stick with me because I can be misunderstood if you're not following along carefully. Someone said, God does not work in spite of my failures, but because of me. What? What does that mean? You mean it's good to sin and live in sin? Of course not. That's what I'm saying. But I found that my vulnerability about my failures and struggles in my faith with the Lord has actually been the biggest open door for ministry that I ever could put together on my own. Doesn't really make sense, does it? But it is so true, and that's what we're going to unpack here this evening. I really live to the best life ever possible when I'm willing to die. That's really when I started living. Luke chapter 9, we're going to read verse 23 and 24 in just a minute. My Jesus is offering to me so much more than I ever dreamed possible. And this evening, as we talk about this, at the end of our time together, I have about 50 handkerchiefs here. And I'm going to offer them to you. There's only 50. There's more people around here, so I'm going to offer each one of these if you wanted to have one. And what this will be is a symbol of your desire to find His life by dying and by surrender. that that's really the best life possible for you and me. And it could be the first time you make that commitment, but for many of you, it will be a matter of saying, yes, God is calling me to a level of brokenness, that I never thought was possible. A level of brokenness that I was too proud to want to embrace, too scared to want to embrace. A level of surrender that Jesus may be calling you to tonight. At the end of the service, we'll have an opportunity for that. Before we look at Luke chapter 9, I came across this story this afternoon. I've heard it before, but I'm using it for the first time here in a long, long time. But I remember this story back when I was younger. And it's kind of obvious, but this is not a story to endorse wearing jewelry. But this is about jewelry. It's about the pearl necklace. Listen carefully. The cheerful girl with bouncy golden curls was almost 5. Waiting with her mother at the checkout stand, she saw a circle of glistening white pearls in a pink foil box. Oh, please, Mommy, can I have them? Please, Mommy, please. Quickly, the mother checked the back of the little foil box and then looked back into the pleading blue eyes of her little girl's upturned face. This story was written a long time ago, so the money is not quite right here. $1.95. That's almost $2. If you really want them, I'll think of some extra chores for you, and in no time you can save enough money to buy them for yourself. Your birthday's only a week away, and Grandma might send you another crisp dollar bill. As soon as Jenny got home, she emptied her penny bank and counted out 17 pennies. After dinner, she did more than her share of chores, and she went to the neighbor's house and asked Mr. McJames if she could pick dandelions for 10 cents. On her birthday, Grandma did give her another new dollar bill, and at last, she had enough money to buy the necklace. Jenny loved her pearls. They made her feel all dressed up and grown up. She wore them everywhere, Sunday school, kindergarten, even to bed. The only time she took them off was when she went swimming or had a bubble bath, because Mom said if they get wet, they might turn her neck green. Jenny had a very loving daddy, and every night when she was ready for bed, he would stop whatever he was doing and come upstairs to read her a story. One night when he finished the story, he asked Jenny, "Do you love me?" "Oh, yes, Daddy, you know that I love you." "Then give me your pearls." "Oh, Daddy, not my pearls, but you can have Princess, the white horse from my collection, the one with the pink tail. Remember, Daddy, the one you gave me? She's my favorite." "That's okay, honey. Daddy loves you. Good night." And he brushed her cheek with a kiss. About a week later, after the story time, Jenny's daddy asked again, "Do you love me?" "Daddy, you know I love you." "Then give me your pearls." "Oh, Daddy, not my pearls. But you can have my baby doll, the brand new one I got for my birthday. She is so beautiful, and you can have the yellow blanket that matches her sleeper even." "That's okay. Sleep well. God bless you, little one. Daddy loves you." And as always, he brushed her cheek with a gentle kiss. A few nights later, when her daddy came in, Jenny was sitting on her bed with her legs crossed Indian style. As Daddy came close, he noticed her chin was trembling, and one silent tear was rolling down her cheek. What is it, Jenny? What's the matter?" Jenny didn't say anything, but lifted her little hand up to her daddy, and when she opened it, there was a little pearl necklace. With a little quiver, she finally said, "Here, Daddy, it's for you." With tears gathering in his own eyes, Jenny's kind daddy reached out with one hand to take the diamond store necklace, and with the other hand, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a blue velvet case with a strand of genuine pearls and gave them to Jenny. He had them all the time. He was just waiting for her to give up the dime store stuff so he could give her genuine treasure. How am I selling for dime store fake pearls when really Jesus wants to give me genuine, authentic, real, valuable pearls? fake pearls are so valuable. What does Jesus call us to if we choose to follow him? In Luke chapter 9, what is he asking us to trade for so that we can have his pearls that he's offering us? The greatest gift. Luke chapter 9, verse 23 and 24 says, "And he said unto them, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever will save his life shall lose it, but whoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it." Here we are again. How does this make any sense? Those who lose their life will find it, and the people that are searching to find their life are going to lose it. Corey Ten Boom said, "I gave up everything I had to God. Well, I hung on to some things, and the things I hung on to, that's what I lost. But what I gave to God is what I still have. The treasure is given me." How do we find life by losing it? Jesus saying at the beginning here in verse 23, he said to them all. He didn't say just for special people. He didn't say just for preachers, just for people that look good or are perfect. He said to them all, he's giving an invitation to all of them, "I want you all to be my followers." And tonight he's looking at everyone down this row, and he knows your history, he knows your past, and he says, "I want so much for you to be my follower. I want so much for you to be my son and my daughter." He said to them all, open invitation to all, let him. Now this word in the Greek is apo, which doesn't mean, just let him do that. If a boy wants to run around, just let him run. If a girl wants to run around, just let her run. It's not let him like, who cares, let him do it. But the meaning of the word let him is that it's essential. Essential for a person who wants to follow Jesus, it's essential to follow these requirements that Jesus lays out here. It's an essential, not just optional. So what are those essentials of following him? Number one, deny himself. Deny himself. How in the world do I find the best, most meaningful life and purpose and impact in my world? By denying myself. That seems so backwards. I mean, ever since I was a baby, and we have 7 grandbabies, and we love every one of them, but they don't even, when they're first born, they don't care a hoot about me. They don't care about grandpa. They don't care Janelle's grandma. They don't even care about their own mom. They care about one thing and one thing only, and that is themselves. They can't help it. That's just the way they're born. All of us are born that way. And all they care about is themselves and what I get, and I have a clean diaper and a full stomach, just whatever it takes to make me happy. But some of us never grow up, and we're still not learning what it means to deny ourselves. Deny myself, take up the cross and follow me. I had a really hard conversation this morning, a really tough one. It's actually one of the first times that I can remember that I was walking with a guy. How should I say this? I've been talking to this guy. He's not from around here, but he's been calling me about once a week since August. And this morning he says, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'm done with what you have to say. I don't believe in this radical Christianity where you have to give up all sexual sin. I don't believe you really have to be in full purity. In fact, now that I'm doing kind of what I want, life is so much better. So I really don't have time for you anymore. And thanks for your time, but no thanks." Every week since August. And that's new for me. Some of you people probably know what that feels like. That was really hard for me. I asked him, I said, "Did I fail you? Did you tell that I cared about you?" "Yeah, I told you cared about me, but I just don't agree with you." I think the Bible says the same thing you're saying. I'm done. Oh, by the way, I'm getting married in a couple months. And that's going to fix everything. I don't know. I'm worried about it. I just talked to him again tonight on the way here. Before Janelle and I met. And just, I don't know, what do you say? Because he's convinced you don't have to deny yourself to follow Jesus. You don't have to deny yourself to experience the best life that Christ has to offer you. You don't have to deny yourself to be prepared for marriage. I'm really grieving for him right now. That's just really fresh. I mean, I just talked to him an hour ago. But it seems to him like, yeah, the best life is to do what I feel like. That's the best life because it feels good. None of this denying yourself stuff. Well, I don't do really bad things, he said. Just some bad things. Not really bad stuff. What does it mean to deny myself? And then I asked, well, maybe I kind of live like that too. Do I really realize that to follow Jesus is denying myself? Like, in the back of my mind, am I still thinking that I can kind of do what I want and follow Jesus at the same time? That I can kind of make my own calls? I feel like as long as other people don't find out, as long as the preacher doesn't know, as long as my mom doesn't know, whatever, my wife doesn't know. I actually lived like that for a while. Regrettably, I have to say that. And I was deceiving myself that I was living the best life by being able to do what I felt like sometimes. When it was really tough, I would do what I felt like. Not all the time, just sometimes. And so I made excuses. Something a little less serious. It's kind of personal, but you guys can take it. This group has been very good at taking things on it. So I got a little bit of a weight problem, okay? So when I had the cancer treatments, I thought the doctor said, eat whatever you want as much as you want. I thought he said that. Janelle said he did. Hey, that's what I heard. So I started putting it on. Let me tell you what, it's easier to put it on than take it off. I found out that already. So here I get down my chemo and I'm like 25 pounds up. I was like, oh dear, now what am I going to do? I thought chemo would, you know how you get sick and throw up and everything. So all of a sudden I said, oh, that was last year. I said, I got to get rid of this. So I asked my sons, I said, could you help me get these 23 pounds off this year or else? And they said, well, Dad, if you do that by the end of May, guess what we'll do? What's that? He said, we'll take you to V-dubs. If you lose 23, but oh, okay. Now we're talking. Well, wait, that's kind of, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. But anyway, so I started on the journey, but it is hard to get it back off. It's hard to deny yourself because food's good. And lots of it is even better. And what's that got to do with this message? It's still the principle, right? It's still the principle. I do what I want with my body, the way I feel like it. And who cares what God says? Who cares that God made me? Who cares that I'm a temple of God? It's the number one health crisis in the country. Is obesity. Number one. More than smoking even. And I was like really convicted, but man, it's not getting off. So then this year, I'm actually quite so radical. I want just 10. Well, I just can't get 10 off. This morning, I went past my favorite donut place, the very best in the county. I mean, if you had them, you know what I'm talking about. The best. I'm so glad to go over there. And of course, I'd be getting a dozen for the rest of the employees because I'm a good manager. I want to get well donuts for the rest of the employees. Now, I'm thinking of myself. I'm thinking of good what I want to do. And it's tough to deny ourselves in those practical ways. I want it so bad. I think that, wow, that would make my day the best day possible. And some of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you're over 40, you probably do. Just in those simple ways, all of us have that. But you know what I found out? This is what I found out. Even today. I want to leave myself this one. Even this, I found out I can just constantly be battling it, fighting it. I want to do what I want. I want to eat what I want. I want to do what I want. Because I don't know. Just because I'm a preacher doesn't mean I don't still want to do what I want. I don't like my sons or anybody else telling me what to do. I want to eat what I want and do what I want. I just do. Sorry. But when that battle, as I finally say, okay, I'm done. No more. I'm done. I'm done. The fight isn't quite as hard. Because the battle, I faced it head on. It's not quite so hard every day because, no, I decided last week and I'm done. I'm done cheating. It's part of not just denying myself in that I don't do this, this, and this, and this. Okay, I'm good. It's not about just checking the boxes and okay, I'm being a good boy because I've been denying myself in these ways. No, it's deep down in my core that I give up the right to say, I want what I want, period. And no one's going to tell me different. It's down in my deepest core, that battle of my will. Then I deny myself. It says, take up my cross. How many of you carry a cross around? See this guy still with a wooden cross? What does it mean by taking up the cross? What it means to me is the cross is where my will and God's will cross. My will and God's will cross. Sometimes it's the same, right? But sometimes it's opposite. My will and God's will cross. And at that juncture, I have a choice to make. Will I take up my cross, which means I'm going to go God's way? Or will I say, no, I'm going to go my own way? And just like the young man this morning, I said, okay, if that's what you choose, you're free to do that. And cut off our relationship. And that's what God says to us. You're free to cut it off. Well, when you realize still that when you're cutting it off, you're cutting it off. You're cutting it off. My will and God's will cross. Every choice, every decision. What does God want for me? You know, a couple of months ago, I sold my car. And we went to the title confirmers there, tag service, and did over the deal. He gave me a check, and I signed the title, and you know how it works, you know, signed it all over. It's actually when I bought the car. That's what happened. That was the most recent thing. I bought a Honda, and I signed over all the papers and whatever. Took the keys and made everything official. He gave me a new tag, and all was done. Then we walked out, and I put the plate on my new car that I just bought, and I got in there, and I drove it away. Now, did the other guy that I just bought it from, did he say, now, Phil, you got to make sure you don't go over 50 miles an hour anywhere you go. Not only that, I need to know everywhere you go. And never further than 20 miles from home. Because I know I sold it to you, but you still have to listen to me. Whatever I say, that's what you have to do when it comes to using that car. Did you say that? Of course not. You bought the car. It's my car. It's not his car, it's mine. And I do what I want. And I drive where I want. And I go as fast as I want. Going as fast as you want can be a problem. Especially when you're going to preach at another church. One time I was preaching at another church, and I was kind of late, and so I was going a little bit faster than normal, people would say. And I was tailgating this guy. And I was tailgating him, and I was going faster, and I was like, come on, I gotta get there. I gotta preach here this morning. And I gotta get there, so I was tailgating. We're getting closer and closer to the church. I kept tailgating him. Come on, we gotta get there. Guess what? He turned into the church parking lot. And guess what? I still use this illustration in the sermon. And I said, one of you I tailgated. I'm sorry. It's good for my soul. It's not my own car. It's not my own life. Following Christ is saying, no, I sold my car to Jesus, and he says where it goes. And he says how fast it goes. And he says how far from home it goes. And in our concept in our mind, maybe you're not like this, but in my mind, I was thinking, no, it's mine. I do what I want with it. It's my money. I do what I want. It's my time. I do what I want with it. Not if I follow Jesus. And we get twisted and we think, I can follow Jesus and he can save me from my sins and I can be sure to go to heaven. Isn't that nice? Yes, it's very nice. In fact, it's wonderful. Best decision I ever made. But do I really understand what following Jesus means? And nobody else is saying this but Jesus himself. And when Jesus himself is saying it, I want to listen because he might have something important to say. And I know he has something important to say. And he says, if you want to follow me, it's more than just a free ticket out of hell. If you want to follow me, it means you're going to deny yourself. You're going to take up your cross. I'm in charge of your life now, not you. It's not your call anymore. Of course, you can make your call. You can do what you want. You can live your own life. But then you're on your own, right? You're living your own life. What does it mean to take up my cross? Take up my cross means way down deep in my heart. I understand and I admit that it's signing over the title of my life. I'm signing over the title. And it's now, he owns my car. He owns my life. Can you have it both ways? Deny myself, take up my cross, and follow me, Jesus says, to be my disciple. Turn with me to Luke chapter 18. Luke chapter 18. Before we look at this, what this is about thinking, what are some things in my life that I've kind of excused? You know, we don't excuse big bad sins because everybody kind of knows them and kind of obvious, right? But are there things in my life that I'm saying, well, it's not that big a deal to gossip about people, you know, make somebody feel worse about somebody than they did before? That's gossip, it's slander, it's one of God's 7 most detestable sins. It's a detestable sin. We already talked about gluttony, we already talked about Sunday night about forgiveness and releasing offenses and releasing someone that caused a lot of pain to me. That's not just a nice idea to have a good life, but it's at the very core of those, whatever those are. That's probably my biggest one right there. To be really honest with you, I've been holding grudges for way too long. And we're talking years and years and years. Now, there's just some things, even in the last couple of years, that I've released and forgiven my dad, and he's been dead for 10 years. And I was still hanging on to things, and he's not even alive anymore. I don't know, when you feel deeply offended and hurt, it's just, that's my big one. To just release and let it go. And forgiveness is another whole subject. But the Spirit is asking me, what are the areas in my life? And I'm not going to deny it because I want to get revenge. I want that person to really suffer for how they hurt me. I want to hold a grudge against them. I hope they get hurt. And I hope they pay for what they did. But deny myself says, no, I let it go. I don't follow what I would humanly wish for. Deny myself. Take up my cross for his will and his best. Luke 18, 9 to 14. Which one am I in this parable? 18, verse 9 and 14. And he spake this parable unto certain others, trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee and the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice in the week, and I give tithes of all that I possess. And the publican, standing afar off, would not even lift up so much of his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his home justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalted himself shall be abased, he that humble himself shall be exalted. So this Pharisee comes into the temple, and he goes into the first-class section. Back then in the synagogue, they had first-class sections for all the Pharisees and the religious people. And so this Pharisee promptly went over to the first class section, and he said, boy, I thank you, God, that I'm not like him. Wow. I am so righteous. I even fast twice a week. The law only said fast once or twice a year, but I fast twice a week. But it just so happens I fast on Monday and Thursday. Why do you think I fast on Monday and Thursday? Well, I'm glad you asked. I fast on Monday and Thursday. I don't like to spread this around too much, but I fast on Monday and Thursday because that's when there's market day. And most people are in town on market day. And I have to fast on Monday and Thursday to make sure everybody knows that I fasted on Monday and Thursday. And that way I get more bang for the buck. And so I fast twice a week, and I do all these things, and there's no way I'm like this person over here. And you look down on the other person, because the other person was a publican. And he was standing down in the slum section. He was standing down in the economy seats, right? He was sitting down over there, and he beat his breast and said, God, be merciful to me. Now this mercy is not, remember when the blind man said, God, Jesus, have mercy on me, and come and heal my blindness? It's not the same mercy. This word mercy that the publican used was halastrion. And the word halastrion is a unique word for mercy. Because back in the Old Testament, when they had the tabernacle, and the high priest would come in once a year and offer the sacrifice in the Holy of Holies, there would be a gold slab on top of the ark, and that on the, what was it again? Mercy seat is where he offered this sinless, perfect lamb on the mercy seat, the halastrion. That's where he'd offer the lamb. And this publican says, I need that sinless lamb. I need that mercy from God. And that lamb was offered once a year to point to the perfect lamb, right? The perfect lamb that would be slain, which is Jesus. He is our halastrion. He is that mercy that we also desperately need. And this man who recognized, God, I need your mercy. I need your halastrion, because without it, I am toast. I don't have a chance. I must have your mercy to ever be forgiven and ever come before you. I have to have your mercy. Jesus said, that man went home justified because he was broken. He was humble. He recognized, without God, I can do nothing. Without him, I am toast. Without him, I don't have a chance. I'm not relying on my last name. I'm not relying on my perfect attendance at church. I'm not relying on looking good. You name it. I'm not relying on all that stuff. I'm relying on the halastrion, the mercy seat, the very sinless, spotless lamb that was slain for me. See, I'm broken because I recognize there's only hope for me because of Jesus. That's the only hope for me. See, I thought there's hope for me because I'm pretty good at speaking, and I'm pretty good at getting money around, and pretty good at making a ministry flourish, and I'm pretty good at this, and I'm pretty good at that. And I was kind of impressed with how pretty good I was at lots of things. But then I realized being pretty good is not too good, actually. It's not the halastrion. It's not the mercy of God in my life. That it's the brokenness. Remember I said? The more broken I am, the more flowers I want. The more humble I am, and recognizing how desperately I need His grace every day. There's no hope whatsoever. To be honest with you, I couldn't care less what you think about how this week has been preaching, because I've been just a servant of God, and it's an honor and a privilege. If there's some way, some of my brokenness and some of the tough things I've had to learn in life can be a blessing to you and water your flowers, fantastic. But it's not because Phil is such a bright guy. It's because of what Jesus has done. And it's only because of what Jesus has done. Am I ready to be that humble, like the publican? Or deep down inside do I say, actually, I like to be, everybody think I'm a pretty nice guy. And I kind of like to smile nice and pretend on the outside like I kind of have it together pretty good. I don't like being vulnerable with a brother. I don't like being transparent with my sons and say, Dad's struggling right now. Sons, would you pray for me? I thought I had to be this kind of pretend wholeness guy. That I'm dad and I got it together and you sons better get in line or else you're not going to want to know what else, but it's coming. I'm not saying that dad shouldn't be in charge of the house, of course. But my greatest gift I could have given my teenagers, which I did incidentally, in a lot of ways I did, was my honest vulnerability, my humility, to say, you know what? Dad's wrong. Dad blew it. Would you please forgive me? I'm sorry. I want to hear what is going on in your life. I want to pray for you. I want to be there for you, son. I miss them. And it grieves me deeply. But I'm trying to make up for lost time. And I feel so blessed in so many ways now. But why did it take so long? Why did it take so long to realize that being broken and humble would produce the greatest fruit? Why did it take so long? Why is it still taking so long? Is it still taking a long time for you? That you gotta just pretend you have it all together and hope nobody knows any different? Or am I willing to be like the publican who beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. I need you so bad. I love you so much, Jesus. You're my shepherd. You walk with me through valleys. You let me lie down in green pastures. You take such good care of me, Jesus. You're my shepherd. I know you and I know your voice and you know my name. And I love walking with you. It's a beautiful story of a sheep that breaks his leg. It seems really tragic, right? But what's so beautiful about that is what happens in that is that when a sheep breaks his leg, a lamb breaks her leg, his leg, the shepherd will carry the sheep around for a while and carry the lamb close to his chest. And the lamb hears the shepherd talk, hears the shepherd speak, feels the beat of the shepherd's heart. And guess what happens after the leg gets healed? That lamb is always on the shepherd's tail. Always. He never wants to get out of sight of the shepherd because he has felt his love. He has been overwhelmed with his care. He has been overwhelmed with trust in him that my shepherd is a good shepherd. Even if he takes me through valleys of the shadow of death, he's a good shepherd. And I'm going to follow him every step of the way. See, we're talking about denying yourself, taking the cross. It's not a matter of, I'm going to threaten you guys, if you don't deny yourself, take the cross, well, you might be out. You might not make it to heaven. No, it's like, that's the greatest life you could possibly live. Because it's following the shepherd. There's no life better than giving it. We find life when we lose it. And we got this all twisted. Because Satan has fed us a pack of lies. That sin is but the reality is sin is a farce. When I talk to guys about sexual sin, I said, sin is a farce. It promises so much so quick, so fast. It seems like so great, but it's a farce. It always leaves you more empty than before. Every single time it leaves you more empty, more shameful than you were before. Every single time it does. Not right away, but it does. And it's a farce, it's a lie. The only best life to live is to deny yourself and to get the cross and follow the shepherd. But if I struggle with that, do I really believe that? Do I get up on blonde shoulders and walk across a tightrope because I really believe it? I'll get on his shoulders up. Yes, I'm all in, God. Or do I still doubt and say, I don't know. I don't know if it's really true or not. I don't know how to really count on it. You know, it's so easy to want to keep it an escape hatch. It's so easy to want to say, well, yeah, I'll follow you, I'll deny myself, take up the cross. But if things really get hard, I gotta have a way out. If things really get hard, I still want to have an escape clause, just in case. And we do have our own will that we can bail. But deep down in my heart, I need to have something settled. There's no escape. I'm in. Janelle and I don't talk about divorce very much. We don't say, oh no, is this the year to divorce or not? Oh, maybe hang in there for another 2 years till the grandchildren will grow up. 5 years ago, you say, yeah, now that the sons are all married, what do we think about divorce? It never comes up. Is there an option? Of course, an option. I can technically divorce. Legally. But it's never a choice. It's never an option. It's never on the table. It's the farthest thing from my mind. How is it with me? Yeah, you can bail on God and say, I'm done, I'm out of here. Anytime. But is it always kind of on the back burner? It's always right there. Should I or shouldn't I? Should I? Or am I settled? No. I'm going to follow him, deny myself. It's not an option. It's not on the table. Cortez was the only explorer in South America that ever made it and ever actually developed a settlement and long-term settlement in South America. That's why everybody's Spanish down there. So Cortez developed and built the settlement and established the beachhead for Spain, for the Spain Empire. What was his secret? Was he so strong? Was he so durable? Did he have so many men? Did he have such great ships? Did he have best guns? What was his secret? He had one secret. And you know history, you know that history. He had one secret. When he landed in South America, he burned the ships. He burned them. He took off what he could, and then he burned them. So he said, you're crazy. What are you burning for? Why don't you have to go back to Spain? We're not going back to Spain. We're getting buried here. This is it. He burned the ships. And some of us need to burn some ships and say it's not an option. I'll throw my phone in the creek before I go pick up that one. It's not an option. I want to burn the ship. It's possible to burn ships. But the beauty thing, like the young man this morning, I can't bring him by the neck and say, you're on thin ice and you should. No, it's his choice. He has to decide. It's his choice. And God says the same to us. There's 3 guys that started Apple. Ronald Wayne. Remember him? No, I didn't think you remember him. Because he bailed early. There's 3 guys that started Apple, and he said, I think it's about as valuable as possibly could be. So in 1976, he said, I'm bailing, I'm going to take my money and go put it in something more substantial. So in 1976, he took his $800, which was a third of the company, and he invested it wisely, as you well know. You know Ronald Wayne, right? When I first, anyway, I want to keep myself current. But you know what what value that is today? If you'd have kept his third? Today, as of today, the stock market said it's now worth $2.59 trillion. 2.59 trillion, which means that his cut would have been about a little less than 1 trillion. Trillion is a lot of money. But that's us when you dabble in sin. We're taking the $800 payout instead of the 1 trillion that God wants to offer us. Even when it doesn't seem like that. Follow me. Jesus is saying, trust his heart. Can I trust him enough? Can I trust him enough that if I follow him as my shepherd, burn the ships and follow him? Even give up some of those grudges, some of those judgmental attitudes towards other even Christians and judgmental attitudes towards other people? Derogatory slanders. thinking some thoughts about other people? Am I really willing to say, your way is the best, Jesus? I want to follow you with my shepherd. I want to follow you. I want to hear your voice. I want to follow you. I want to trade in my $1.95 pearls for real pearls, real gems that will really last. Let me tell you something. Like I said before, I was already a preacher and I still didn't quite believe that it was real. I still thought I could dabble in stuff and it wasn't real. I still didn't really think that what I'm saying tonight was really true. I said it was true, but I didn't really believe it. I didn't really climb on the shoulders of Lon Grant. I didn't really believe it. Do you really believe it? Do I believe it? There's something in my life that I'll say, yeah, I gotta hang on to that. I gotta hang on to that because my life would never work without that. Or am I saying, no, as the Spirit shows me, no matter what it shows me, I'm going to give it up. I'm going to burn the ship. I'm done. I'm all in. No more going back to Spain. I'm going to get buried here. The poem that says, oh Lord, I'm afraid to say yes. I'm afraid of drawing the longer straw. I'm afraid of signing my name to an unread agreement. I'm afraid of the yes that entails other yeses. I'm afraid to put my hand into yours because you hold on to it, Lord. When I stretch out my hand to take hold of people and things, they just vanish before my eyes. It's no fun, Lord. I can't keep anything for myself. The flower I picked just fades in my hand. My laugh just freezes on my lips. Everything seems empty. Everything seems hollow. I'm hungry and thirsty, and the whole world can't satisfy me. Where are you, God? I thought you promised the fullest life possible. And God said to me, son, I want more for you and for the whole world. Until now, you've planned your own actions, but I have no hand in it. You've asked for my approval. You've asked for my support. You wanted to interest me in your work. But don't you see, son? You need to reverse the role. You no longer do your own will, but the will of your Father, which is in heaven. Say yes to me, son. Say yes to me, daughter. I need your yes, for it is I who must do your work. Give all to me. Abandon all to me. Oh, Lord, I'm afraid to say yes. I'm afraid of your demands. But who can resist you? That your kingdom may come and not mine. That your will may be done and not mine. Lord, help me to say yes. You see this white flag? People use this for a couple different things. And you can have a choice what you're going to use it for. I said I have a couple here for you, whoever wants one. In just a moment, we're going to sing a song. All to Jesus I surrender. Christ contribute us in that. See, this handkerchief can be used for two different things. This is a picture of your life. This is your life, Wes, right here. And a handkerchief can be used for two different things. One, it can be used to blow your nose. That's pretty typical. That's what I made. That's why I bought it. To blow your nose. Or it can be used if you're in a game or a war. You can use it like this to wave. So what does that mean, Daryl? Surrender. So this is my life. God gave it to me. I have a choice what I'm going to do with it. I can either blow it or I can surrender it. Not that complicated, is it? So what has God been speaking to your heart? You people, I've never shared with somebody a group that was so open and so hungry and so ready to learn. You've really inspired me. You really have this week. But I can't read your mind. I don't know what God is saying to you tonight. But I'm just asking you to be faithful. If God is calling you and saying, Phil, there's an area of your life that I really want you to surrender to me. A ship that I haven't burnt yet. A grudge that I haven't given up yet. A pain that I haven't let him heal. Indulging in a sin that I just keep going back to because I keep believing it's what I need for life. I know it's wrong, but I just keep going back there. I don't know why, but I keep going back there. And Jesus is saying, can you give it up? Can you give up your cheap pearls for genuine treasure that I'm going to give you? Or you want to hang on to your $1.95 pearls? So we're just going to sing a song. Let's all stand up together, shall we? And if you don't need one of these, I know I do. Okay? I'm going to take one home. I'm going to keep one myself. Okay, this is nothing flashy about this. This is just real living. And I need to put this somewhere so that when I wake up in the morning, I see it and I say,